So as we've known for a while, Epic Games have been giving out free games each month, and the last free game was Battlefront 2, which has caused a surge on people just playing it and having more fun. It already had its small community on consoles, but now it just seems to be consistent on PC as well. And we're going to try and talk about the missed opportunity of this game, because
So much missed opportunity.
Yeah, because it had such an unfortunate launch.
That's one way of putting it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the nicest way I can put it. An unfortunate launch. But because of that, the game really didn't live up to expectations early on.
Yeah. I mean, when you say unfortunate launch deal, I'm putting it out there that I think Star Wars Battlefront 2 is probably notoriously the worst launch in the last decade, to be honest.
The last decade? I mean, there has been some bad launches.
No, but this one, it set a record on Reddit for the most downvoted comment of all time. Do you know, have you remember that sense of pride and accomplishment?
Oh, that guy, comment? Yeah, from the staff. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that received 683,000
I forgot
downvotes.
about that. That's
Yeah, the guy complained about that he spent $80 and he still couldn't get Darth Vader, and the whole thing was like, we believe that it is the intent to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes, even though the guy just spent $80 and couldn't get the one he wanted to play as.
Yeah.
You got that whole controversy, and then literally when this all started coming out, and it started getting notoriously bad, it literally cost EA $3.1 billion. Their stock fell in the launch in that period. It fell by 8.5% in that period. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, Dill, but if a game cost me $3.1 billion in shares, I consider that a pretty bad launch.
Oh, of course, yeah. Especially for EA. EA makes so much money on just FIFA alone. And this is Star Wars. It should be quite easy to make a good game, especially Battlefront, because the Battlefront 2 one on PlayStation 2 was such a good game. And in hindsight, all they needed to do was keep all those features and upgrade the graphics, and they would have been fine for the first year.
Yeah, why do they not just ask people? And literally, I think everyone that played the original Star Wars Battlefront series will literally say, give what we were given 15 years ago, and then just update the shit out of it. They've got the one. I still hold that what's the engine deal? What's the
Frostbite?
Game engine?
Frostbite.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful engine.
No, it is.
If you were to take Battlefront 2 from 2005, apply it to that, and then modernize it a little bit with the modern day shooters.
Yeah,
there's your money.
Exactly. No, I agree with you completely. It's so sad because when the game came out in 2017, it was pretty much like an alpha. Like you said, people had to grind to get Darth Vader and stuff, and like the only way you could get unique weapons was you got the digital deluxe edition, so you didn't have to grind them out. And it's such a sad monetization of the game. But DICE did do their best to improve the games years and years out. And to be honest, it is in a really good state now. But unfortunately, they've stopped now because they have to focus on Battlefield. That's the only annoying bit about it, is that the game was so bad at launch that now they don't have enough time and staff to continue because they need to release their next project.
Yeah, I think the game, how it launched, especially like literally the first week that it launched, it was already down. I think it was in the UK, it was down by 61% on sales compared to the original Battlefront EA released. And
damn.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what you want for a sequel.
Yeah.
So they were really with all the things that happened around this game and how it was launched, especially with this game literally caused new laws to be made when it came to, I think it was in America, they introduced the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act.
Yeah.
They literally made a bill because of Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're getting the headlines for those reasons, it's going to be very hard to succeed in the potential of any game. I don't think that's. Do you know when people say any publicity is good publicity?
Yeah.
This is not true here. This is not true. This is not true. I don't care if you work in PR. No one can tell me that the launch of the Battlefront 2 was anywhere good for all the publicity that it did get. It was terrible. But you're right. It does have a lot of good features in it now, but I think it's just because they messed up so badly with the microtransactions at the very start, which they obviously ended up suspending and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think it's only cosmetics now.
Yeah, it's just cosmetics. Yeah.
Yeah, like they did so much wrong, and like you said, this is Star Wars, and it's such a historic time with Battlefront. And I think a lot of people, no matter if you like Call of Duty, if you like Battlefield and all that, everyone usually can agree that Battlefront is a fun game to play as a shooter.
Yeah, no, 100%. What's annoying as well is that they could still add so many features. I mean, we just finished The Mandalorian. Imagine Mandalorian as a hero. Like, we don't have Mace Windu, we don't have Ahsoka. There's just so many heroes, and it's annoying because I feel like a Battlefront game can last so much longer than any Battlefield game and any Call of Duty game, just because it has so many features you can add and it's so big.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like we said this in the previous video with Star Wars, that the universe itself is just insane. Especially all the characters that you've mentioned that aren't in Battlefront 2. You've got so much longevity in anything that you can like introduce to the game. And the one thing that pisses me off about Star Wars Battlefront under EA is that I don't understand why I do, but why had they not got Galactic Conquest?
Yeah.
Why?
I know.
Imagine if they introduced like a Galactic Conquest game mode now and then you can literally have up to 4 people. So like you could be the Empire, I can be the Rebels. You could have like you can get Alex involved and he can be the Republic, even though it doesn't make sense in canon. But you know, and then you just have a galaxy board sort of style thing and all that, and you can just go around like invading each other and stuff like that. You know, launch into different game, and that's what they used to do with the 2-player back in the day with the Galactic Conquest. It was like a board game, and then you just invade each other's planets.
Mm-hmm.
Why was that? Why leave that game mode alone? It was such a unique thing to Battlefront.
Because Lou, they wanted money. EA just wanted money in the beginning. They just wanted money, so they just got rid of all of the good features of the game. And to be honest, that was kind of a turning point for the betterment of the gaming industry. It was that a lot of people were just getting sick and tired of all of the bullshit monetization with no features. Like loot boxes that just give cosmetics is just fine. Like I don't have really a problem against those.
No, yeah, it's making money.
Yeah, but like when you're like delaying progression and you're basically using it as a shortcut so people have better weapons and stuff, then it's just a cheap feature to add to any game. And unfortunately, we saw that with one of our favorite franchises, which is Star Wars.
Yeah, it was a build-up. Like, I feel like no matter what game it would have been in that year, I think Star Wars Battlefront was just teed up perfectly for gamers to take their frustration out of. Because I think once this all blew over, it literally started forcing a lot of developers and publishers to think, right, we can't be monetizing gameplay aspects. A lot of developers afterwards switched to solely cosmetic, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to upgrade your own abilities and stuff like that through paid stuff, because it just makes you think, why should a new player even bother when Dave down the road spent £200 on it? You know, like why should I even compete with him?
Yeah, exactly. And it was EA as well, and we all know they've been sus with monetization for so long with their surprise mechanics. I think that's what their director said it was called, surprise mechanics.
Yeah, it was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was such a it's such a historic comment now, looking back on it. But it's interesting now with this untapped potential and all that, because obviously recently Ubisoft announced that there's an open world Star Wars game coming under their banner.
Yes.
So it did make me think, is the next Battlefront, do you reckon that will be under EA?
I think it will, just because the Frostbite engine is really good, and DICE is really well known for their large shooters. And to be honest, they are really good at it. Like the gameplay on Battlefront 2 is still really fun, and Battlefield is still one of the best shooter games still out. Yeah. And I think it'll be hard for any other company to rival that opportunity.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Battlefield 1, that was World War 1, right?
Yeah.
Came out a few years ago. That is still one of my favourite FPS shooters I played.
No, it's a very good game.
FPS shooters. I've said first-person shooters.
Yeah.
but I think even though I wasn't that great at it, I think one thing that DICE is really good at, especially in these like large lobbies and all that, it's really good just capturing the absolute shithousery when a war goes on.
Yeah.
When you have buildings being destroyed and explosions left and right, and all these players converging onto different points. DICE is really good at that, and
No, they are.
I don't want Battlefront to move elsewhere, because surely if they were to give it another try, they got a third attempt. Surely a third attempt now, they should be able to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean,
You'd think. You'd hope.
Yeah, they should. But to be honest, man, I don't even think it needs a proper sequel. I think all it needs is an upgrade at least. Really?
I think it does.
Why?
I think just because of how notoriously bad the launch was, you just need to. I know, like you said, they've done really well in recovering it, and like I said, it's all free now. But that's one thing.
Yeah.
Firstly, everyone's only starting to rate it because it's free. So no one had so because the title was just that tainted, the number was just that tainted. I think, like I said, if you're costing a company $3 billion, it's going to be hard to shrug that off. I think a new edition, a new installment, taking a lot of what the current state of the game is in now and then building upon it. I personally think that would be the best way they can go to really start fresh and say, look, here's Battlefront 3.
Yeah.
We've learned from our mistakes. Give us one more chance. Otherwise, Disney's probably never going to let us do a Battlefront game again.
Yeah, but I just feel like there is not a lot more they can improve on. Like I feel the new start and stuff, but then I feel like they're just repeating themselves, because all of the stuff that they've added is gonna be in Battlefront 3 anyway. So why not just make an upgrade? Like all you need is an upgrade of like textures for the new gen consoles and PC for ray tracing. And then you could I don't know, you could add like a massive update that adds Galactic Conquest and all the other heroes and villains. I don't think players to this day now will mind paying like £20 if they know like all of these new features are going to come in without any bullshit monetization.
Well, what if they were to do Battlefront 3 but go completely different with it and use the Old Republic setting?
I mean, I don't know a lot about the Old Republic, to be honest. So, like, I don't know how like the armies and stuff works, to be honest.
No, they had the Sith Empire and stuff like that. The Sith were cooking up; they were pretty big, and the Republic still had its own army and stuff. They had there wasn't. It was if anything, it was actually more wide scale war, to be honest. Than what we've seen and what we've been given in the current Star Wars lore and stuff. So I think everything that you've said about what can they do differently, what can they do, I think why not just start completely fresh? Because no matter what EA are gonna do, it's always gonna get compared to Battlefront 2.
Yeah, that is true.
Why not just do Battlefront 3? Take all the mechanics you've learned, go back in time with Star Wars with such a massive universe and lore, and like introduce planets that me and you have never really seen before.
Yeah.
And with different characters and different armies and stuff like that. I think it could be a really cool way to really re-energize the franchise in that sense. You've got a Sith army, like, so you've literally got an army of bloody Sith. You know, imagine if you were to, imagine that sort of battle with the Jedi Council 2,000 odd years ago and however long ago it is.
Yeah.
You get some cool stuff.
No,
I think there's so much potential in this series.
No, there is.
They just keep missing it though, Dill.
It's annoying, man. Like, I honestly think that a Battlefront game should last longer than a Call of Duty game. You know what I mean? Because, like, not gonna lie, any shooter game, people get bored after 2 or 3 years. That's why battle royales are more popular now. Because it just cycles from, are we gonna go old school World War II, or we're just gonna go more modern, and then it just goes back and forth, and then people just get bored either way. I think with Star Wars, because it's such a consistently different storylines, there's just so much more they can deliver with it.
Yeah, you know, you're right. I think the game in its current state now, it's not a masterpiece, and it's probably not, and it's not up there either. It's not up there with the best Star Wars games in the past, but it's still a pretty serviceable game for people that like Star Wars and they like blowing shit up.
Really? You don't think it's that good? I actually think it's pretty good.
I wouldn't put it up there though, because I wouldn't put it up there as one of the best Star Wars games. Because I don't care what game it is. When you launch a game, it shouldn't take you 3 years for someone to start appreciating it because of all the updates you finally put into it. That is true. I don't like rewarding that. I don't like rewarding that.
But is that because of EA and not because of DICE? Because I feel like DICE was going to do that anyway, regardless.
Yeah, well, that's my beef.
Yeah.
I know I don't like judging a game and then thinking, oh well. Imagine you say to me 3 years ago that you're like, well, we can't decide yet. That we have to wait. Look, we have to wait 3 years before we can make our assessment. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, it's like a desperation call, isn't it? In a
Yeah,
sense.
if you launch a game, I don't get me wrong. It's glad that they upgraded it, but no, it's not for me. When you have to take that long to get the game to be a decent level to start considering it a good game.
So it's no forgiveness.
No forgiveness, no forgiveness. But it's still a good game. And it's like I said, if you're a Star Wars fan and you just want to be in the Star Wars universe as well, it's a very good game in that sense. But like, if you compare it to something like Jedi Fallen Order, it's
that's true.
Below.
Yeah,
and that is a good game. But yeah, I think there's definitely enough people to do in it, but the potential they've missed here is ridiculous. I really hope that they eventually release Battlefront 3, and they do a good job.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I feel like EA is just one of those children that you're starting to give up with. Like, just impress me, please.
I mean,
please.
With all of the Disney Plus stuff as well, there's so much content that you can just add.
Going out, yeah.
So like they can't fail, to be honest.
Yeah,
there's no excuse.
I feel like at this point the Battlefront community is literally that Palpatine meme where it's literally use my knowledge. use my knowledge, EA, I beg you. The community has the answers, just use their knowledge, EA.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.